Hi everyone, I'm here through the portal to share my life review, and this in relation to my experience with idolizing people. Idolizing, let me define it. This is where I would like, inside myself, in my mind, create these simulations and projections of a person, and I would essentially, within those simulations and the projections of my mind, like extract, from the person everything that I see is good and perfect and great and just, magnificent. And within that, I would, in my mind's eye, believe that all that I have perceived this person to be is all that they are, is who they are, is how they are. So I essentially had the tendency of what I initially believed, was to make the person more than what they were or who they were. And then what would always happen is that the person would in some way or another disappoint me, or shall I more say, disappoint my simulated projection of them that I created in my mind. And then I would within that be angry and resentful and almost become spiteful, toward them, for daring to contradict my projected simulation of them. So here, what I would like to share is, is understanding this type of idolizing and perceiving that you're making a person more than who they are and what they are, but it's not necessarily that you're making them more than. It is, interestingly enough, that you do see qualities of them and about them. But the only problem is that in your mind, you're only focusing on the good qualities, that which you see is great and magnificent and like wow and extraordinary, and if you accept and allow yourself to hold onto a person, in your mind, only in that way, you're not allowing yourself to see all that they are, the reality, which includes the good and the bad. And that if anything, what is making that projected simulation more is the feeling values, the energetic value that you're putting into that projected simulation or to that person in your mind. So in other words, like for example, there was this one professor who I really looked up to, who I idolized. I saw this professor as like this perfect human being, because of what he had dedicated his life to, his mind to, the research that he'd done, just the life that he had lived. And I thought, this man is an extraordinary person. And what I did was he inspired me, to become who I was and do what I do in my life path and career path. And until, there were stories and things starting to come out about his secret life that he had lived, and things that he had done and troubles that he had gotten into, and addictions that he had and things like that, which we were never privy to. And it was like, here was the bad, essentially, or everything of himself coming out. And now in my mind, I made a comparison as though, now there were two professors in my mind, two of the same people. On the left was, my projected simulation, only containing all the good and the extraordinary that I'd seen. And then on the right, just all the bad and negative and everything that I'd judged, about him. And I accepted and allowed that bad, that which I judged of him, to supersede the good qualities that did exist within him and of him. And within that process, I emotionally reacted to some of the realities that came out, in relation to him. And then I completely started changing my relationship, my approach, my words, my behavior. And it almost got to a point where, I gave up on my career path because of this, because of my reaction to him, to the reality of him. But I then took a breath and stepped back and asked myself, but if I accept and allow this, I'm saying that who I am and my choice of my career path was because of, only an good idea of who a person is. And I can't base who I am in my life just on that. So from a certain perspective, it was a good realization, for me to really question my life path. Am I making this choice for myself? Yes, it's good for others to inspire you, but not make who you are and your decision for your life dependent on others, but use others to inspire you. Right. So what I would suggest for anyone who tends to idolize people, and then emotionally react to when truths and realities come out about them, and then you react to them in your mind, and then you go into anger, resentment, and spite, that's not being fair to that person, and also not to yourself, because all of us, have the good and the bad. And if you purely look only at the good of a person, you can't really embrace and encompass all that they are, and may even being able to develop a relationship in such a way to assist and support them, through the bad things that they might be going through in themselves and their lives, to nurture, hold on to, and sustain that which is good. All right, so this my life review to share with you some realizations and insights about idolizing people. That when you find your mind does that, and you're seeing the good, just slow down and make sure that when you do see people in your mind's eye, that you incorporate everything that they are, and always see what you can learn from others in your life, rather than placing them on a pedestal, making them more or less. Just see everyone for who they are, how they are, and what they are. All right. Thank you very much.